Now, the FBI says that an improvised explosive device was also found at the site. We are now being joined by Dr. Sergej Sumleni, defense expert and director of European Resilience Initiative Center from Berlin. Thank you so much for joining us on WION. What a tragic incident. The New York mayor has already called it a terror attack, while the police says that they're still investigating this incident of the vehicle ramming into the crowd at Bourbon Street. How do you see the incident coming on New Year's Day?
Hello, and thank you for having invited me today. Of course, it is typical for the police to be very calm in judging what was the reason of the act of a person. But for the politicians, the situation is different. And when we see like the likelihood that this event was a terrorist attack, it is clear that people can name it that way without waiting for the first results of the police investigation, later for a court hearing if such takes place. And we see that it is not the first time when a vehicle is being used as a tool for a terrorist attack. We have seen lately this similar event in Germany, in Magdeburg. Before, like 10 years ago, the same event happened in Berlin, also on the Christmas market, when the terrorists used a heavy truck. We have seen similar cases in Nizza, in France, years ago, etc., etc. That's why many Christmas markets in Europe, in Germany in particular, are being guarded by concrete or steel bollards. Not every one of them, unfortunately, as we have seen last week in Magdeburg, but many of them.
And we do also remember when a car in 2017 rammed into the crowd in New York's Times Square. But we're seeing these incidents in Germany and then here in New Orleans, unfortunately, happen so close to one another. Do you think that we're going to see more copycat incidents, or is this just a coincidence?
Well, it is one of the easiest ways to commit a terrorist attack on a crowd of people, obviously. Look, most tools to commit an attack if someone wants to kill people, these tools are they clearly show that a person has an intention to kill someone or to hurt someone. If you're carrying around a gun, even if in this particular state in the US, carrying of guns is allowed, still you can be profiled, and there are no gun zones. If you carry like knife, a hunting knife or something like that, you can be tracked as a person who is about to commit a terrorist attack. But if you drive a car, it is normal to drive a car on a street, and you cannot be identified as a potential killer as long as you do not attack people with your car. So it is pretty understandable that those terrorists who want to ram a large crowd of people would prefer using cars. And it is also understandable why such mass events in the center of the cities, like Christmas markets or other gatherings of crowd, have been attacked, because people are being packed in crowds there, and a car can hit as much people as can. It's logical. And of course, those people who have this intention, they Google, they try to find like similar cases, how these attacks have been done before, what were obstacles, why one attack was more successful than another, what they should do to improve their evil tactics, etc. It is also unfortunately natural. Criminals learn from other criminals, exactly as police learns from the crimes how to protect people. Criminals learn how to kill more people.
What are some of the measures generally officials and cities at this point, security measures? What are these measures that they can take to prevent such incidents from happening. I mean, I know there was a heavy presence of law enforcement there. It was interesting to hear that, sadly, of course, that the NYPD in New York, because of that big Times Square celebration, the ball drop, was very careful that something like this doesn't happen in Times Square because of the incident that happened in Germany. So, I mean, are there any specific measures that cities and officials and government can take to prevent something like this, or are they doing everything they can?
Well, the most reliable way to prevent such an attack by a car driver against a crowd of people is to prevent any car from being able to drive into this crowd. And as I mentioned before, in many public areas, we see in the center of the cities concrete bollards or steel bollards or other massive things being installed to prevent any car from driving around. But of course, you cannot close any part of the city, like, or all parts of the city. You always have crowded pedestrian crossings. Like think about most popular crossings, Tokyo in Shibuya, or in London you have the Oxford Circle, etc., where you naturally have people crossing street, and if the people cross street on the top of the street, they practically form this natural target for such terrorists. So you cannot make all parts of the city safe. It's impossible. But of course, you can close those areas which are being announced as gathering areas for Christmas markets, for music festivals, for like some theater shows or something like that. And it is what is being done. Of course, you cannot have it for every event, and of course you can have cases when you need to bring something like heavy equipment or people, and you practically have these ways for the cars. Of course, it is also a question of money. If the city has enough budget for installing of such devices, especially if these devices can be movable, like you can raise them from the ground by pushing a button or lower them down, or they can being raised in the case of emergency. They cost much more money. So it's all about competition between attacker and a defender, and an attacker always has an advantage because an attacker can pick up a target, and a defender must protect everything without letting any gathering of people being vulnerable against an attacker. And that is why attackers are always in advantageous position, and that's why terrorist attacks will continue independently on how good we protect ourselves.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.